Salem's Lot, the 2004 film, I want to say. Yep, 2004. This is an interesting movie. Well, it's not even a movie, it's a mini series. So, if you don't know, on my channel, I've been reviewing all the Salem's Lot movies or sequels, things, in lead up to the new Salem's Lot movie releasing on HBO Max, or Max, next week at the time of recording this video. It might already be up by the time this video comes out. But so I watched this, so I've reviewed Return to Salem's Lot, and I reviewed the original miniseries, and now I'm talking about this miniseries. And I gotta say, this is the worst one to get your hands on. First of all, this DVD, I believe, is out of print. You can still get it via Amazon pretty cheap. It's like $9. But, it's not in print. Amazon just has leftover copies, because probably they've overproduced them, or whatever it is. They just got some sitting in a warehouse. There it's sitting, and so they have them up. And Amazon will have a lot of Blu-rays like that. But you got this DVD, and I don't have the disc in here, but because it's in my player, because I just finished watching this. And you got the back here, right? Just one disc, and this is on, and it's, so yeah, it's a very cheap looking DVD. It's from 2004, 2006, something like that. And this movie looks like ass on DVD. Like, the DVD is very low quality. It's about 20 years too old. I've been playing it. I was playing on my 4K TV. And I could tell that the movie didn't look really kind of not great. And it was because, like, it's because of the DVD itself. So, I would not recommend buying this DVD. I would recommend searching it up on streaming. But this is an interesting adaptation because going into this, I've heard things about the original. I didn't know anything about the sequel, and it turns out that was for good reason. It was another, like, kind of Pet Sematary 2 type deal, where it's just an awful movie. That's not what we're talking about. But then I didn't hear about this one either, and it's only has a DVD release, so I figured, okay, this one's not going to be very good. And my surprise, it was actually pretty decent. I don't think any of these Salem's Lot movies are great. I think Tobe Hooper's film is probably the more interesting film. It has some really cool visuals and directorial ideas. It has the most vision behind it. This miniseries clearly doesn't. This feels a lot more bland. This feels very TV. Back in the day, it doesn't really feel movie quality, where that original movie or miniseries, I guess you could say, it works a little bit better, feeling like an actual movie. This one, I think, is the pros about this one is the cast does a pretty good job in here. There's a decent cast in this thing. Donald Sutherland, James Cromwell, Rob Lowe. You got some pretty good people in here doing some pretty decent performances that do enhance this miniseries. But I do think one thing that held this back for me is I'm not watching this in a miniseries. Is on this DVD, there's no episode selection in the menu. It's literally just a 3-hour-long movie, and I don't feel like it flows that well. If it was actually be able to watch it as a mini series, I would have enjoyed it more. But then the other thing too is that, like, this mini series tries to modernize it and stuff, and that's a really good pro. That really works for this. But I just think, to me, what bothers me about this adaptation is, again, it doesn't have that directorial flair or anything interesting. So while this movie had some creative ideas in terms of modernizing the story and certain things that they do in this movie, that if you know the original novel really well, they're able to do really cool stuff. Tobe Hooper is just such a more interesting director than this. So it leads to this miniseries that's kind of interesting, and more interesting than you would think it would be, considering all this has to its name as a 20-year-old DVD. It's still not as interesting as it should have been, I guess. And so that's just kind of It's kind of this odd little movie. I recommend if you like Salem's Lot a lot, and no pun intended there, really like that original miniseries, and you kind of enjoyed Return to this sequel, Return to Salem's Lot, and you're kind of just curious about any adaptation, it's worth a watch. You'll enjoy it. I don't know how much I'll ever see myself going back to this one, but I do think it's kind of a shame that this one's kind of gone under the radar because it had some clever ideas that maybe this new one coming out could maybe take some inspiration from, but overall I just didn't think it worked. Also, apparently, I think Rob Lowe, from what I understand, is a big Stephen King fan in real life. I'm not exactly sure about that, but I feel like I've heard that somewhere. So, but yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.